Don't start the new year except if you do this one thing that will make the entire year 10 times better. I've been following this strategy for almost 8 years now to only realize that it all comes down to these 3 principles. I promise that after this video, you will be able to have the greatest start of a year that will literally not only will make you ahead of all your peers, but also will make it basically impossible for you to not achieve all of your resolutions. The way that I'm going to do it, I'm going to give you the stories, I'm going to also give you the lessons, and I'm going to add secrets of mine. So I've been doing this for the past 8 years. I've started reading all the self-help books and stuff like that, and I realized that, well, I have to make goals now. I have to make goals yearly, I have to make goals every quarter, I have to make goals every month, I have to make goals every week, etc., etc. And the thing is, like for me, I just realized that, well, that was one thing. All right, cool. But now, how can I get the most out of it? If I'm going to do it, I might as well just do it great and get the most out of it, if you know what I mean. And really like that when it got me the first time. When I got my first goal, it was actually absolutely bad. It was rubbish. In fact, I didn't achieve my first goal, if you know what I mean. But then I actually was able to achieve my first goal. So how did I went from not achieving my goals to actually being able to achieve my goals is the debut or the start of whatever it is, whether it's a week, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's a month, quarter, or a year. So I'm going to give you an example. Last year, I've had this jump in terms of goals, and I was going on and off actually with yearly resolutions. The year prior to that, I didn't really make that much of a yearly resolutions. So I went back, I did all of this, and I really one up myself, and I said, this year I'm going to do this. It was in 5th of January. And being honest, it was just me hooping and literally throwing the rock, but I realized that 9 months later, I was finished. So I had 9 months extra in my year. I literally got into the next year. So that these things, it's like, all right, cool. So like, how can everyone do the same? It's like you have to understand these principles. One of them, I think the most important to actually be able to have a great start of the year is to understand the importance of the start. Having the great start is literally can build or break whatever it is that you want to make. Whether it's a goal, whether it's a resolution, whether it's a habit, whether it's a consistency based, whether it's a revenue goal, whether it's profit, it doesn't matter. It's like that beginning, because look, if you don't have any motivation, and I wouldn't say motivation, but not any excitement to actually take off the first few tasks that you will have, like January, February, March, stuff like that, probably you wouldn't have the excitement at the end of the year. When it comes August, probably you wouldn't have that excitement. So it doesn't make any sense to be in January, February, March not having any excitement at all. It means probably your resolutions are wrong or you just don't care, right? It's just like one of the two. So I guess that because you're watching this video, you care. So probably it's the resolutions. Now, how to make your resolutions better can be a little bit tricky. However, I'm going to explain to you a simple formula to make it with every yearly resolution, so we make sure that it's all you can actually do them and they're in the best form. 1, it has to be consistency based. Even if it's a result driven, turn it into consistency. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I'm a salesperson. I make sales calls or cold emails. Let's say cold emails. So I do cold emails, stuff like that. I send messages on email all the time. That's how I can get clients. So I want, let's say this year, I want to have 100 closed sales per month, which gets us to 1,200 per year. That's the goal. 1,200 closed clients this year. Cool. Now, can I control the closed clients? No, I can't. But what I can control is how many emails I can send. So let's say if I already have an experience, which here we have 2 scenarios. If I already have experience, so this is my 3rd, 5th, 10th year, stuff like that. So as an example, I've been doing this for almost a decade now. Content creation, I know how to say, even if I say I want X this, X that as a result driven, I always translate it immediately to the equivalent in terms of consistency. So if you already done 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you realize that, well, okay, for every 100 emails, cold emails, I get one closed sale, or like one sale. Now you can understand that. So if you want to do 1,200, or if you want to do 100 per month, you have to do 1,000 cold emails per month. Okay. So, which gives us to 12,000 cold emails per year, which makes sense. It's like 12,000, 1% of that is 10% in it. Dude, I'm going crazy with this one, innit? Look, every month we have to do 100 sales, right? In order for us to do 100 sales, we have to do 1,000, right? Because for every 100 we get one, so we have to do 10 times, 100 times. Dude, did I just... Whoa! I literally got a physics science degree, and now my brain just stopped. Whoa! All right, I'm gonna like go through it again. So for everyone we have 100. All right. So for 100, how much will we have? We're gonna have 1, 2. So it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 10,000. All right. Now it does make sense. So for every 100, we're going to have 10,000. We're going to have 10,000 emails sent. It's pretty crazy. So for a year, we have to have 120,000 emails sent to get that 12,000 or 1,200 sales that we want. So basically the process, and don't mind here, like I went a little bit off with mathematics, but the thing is, you have to understand what consistency gets you. So, and this can be applied in anything really. It's like even in the gym, you want to lose 8 pounds, 12 pounds, 20 pounds. If you already go to the gym, you know, like for every month you go 5 times to the gym, you lose about 2 pounds. You can calculate how many times you have to go to the gym and make that your goal. Really, like always make your goals consistency or volume driven other than just results driven, because that sometimes can just exhaust you and you don't attain it because you just don't know what to do. And the worst type of it is if you have a very vague description. It's like, I want to be good at math. That's not a yearly resolution. It's not a goal. And people do this mistake. Like, I want to be good at this. I want to be awesome. I want to be fantastic. I want to be etc. It's like whatever, insert adjective. No, it doesn't work, because what do you mean by good? So let's say I am good at content creation. I would say, well, I'm good at content creation, which means that I have to upload, let's say 10 times a month, something like that. And I can do that consistently. And also I can put it with X, Y, and Z. It's like stuff like that. So I really break down, what do I mean by good? What do I mean by awesome? What do I mean by whatever? So this is like the first one into like making the goal. I think the most important one too is, if you have some sort of data or statistics, make it based. If, as an example, last year I had 3 months of statistics in terms of YouTube channel. I uploaded YouTube videos for, obviously I've been doing this for almost a decade. It was a new channel. All right, so WhiTeeee Galaxy, it was brand new back then. I had 3 months of me uploading. I said, you know what? On average, I upload about 7 videos. So let me, put that into a year. That will give me about 100 videos. I said, you know what? I'm going to make 100 videos this year. Have I ever made that? No. My high score was 20 videos a year. So I was literally changing my entire perspective on how I see views, how I see videos. But the thing is like, this is important, because if you want really to make volume, you have to see what you've done. If you have done nothing, your goal is just to make better than what you were. It's like it's like push yourself a little bit. If you've done nothing, like you've never done something, you can just see anyone and do more than him. It's like you just do see the best in the field, see how much he's uploading, or a team or professional, something professional, and do more, do double of what they do. And sometimes you can do even more. So it's like, it depends on what it is. But it has to be, look, at first, it has to be insane. You're like, dude, it's so unrealistic. Which is also, like, I think the most important thing about goals setting is actually it has to be unrealistic. You have to be like, well, this is awesome and all, but really, like, it's unrealistic at all. Which is, even in the 4-Hour Work Week, he talks about this so beautifully. And he says, look, when you make a goal unrealistic, the thing that you get with it is unrealistic, gives you excitement, gives you the adrenaline rush that you need to actually take down the tasks. You understand? So you're like, all right, cool. Now I have to make something so extraordinary, something like push yourself. Don't say I'm going to make 10 push-ups a month or some bullshit like that. You want to push yourself. You want to say, I want to make 100 a day or something, right? That pushes yourself. You're like, that's unrealistic. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to have so great of a story type shit, all right? So like you want something like that because that's really what makes you better. All right, cool. Now we understand how really it is important to have a good start. We understand what are the principles to make a goal. I think the most important actually when it comes to goal making is actually also the perspective that you see goals. So there's people that see goals as everything. There's people that see goals as very little. The point here as to see goals, the perspective that you have to see goals is something that helps you to get to your bigger goals. There's a reason why Elon Musk speaks about it so beautifully in a quote very early on in his career. He says, every entrepreneur or every startup has to do this one thing. What is it? He says, you have to make your 10 years goal your 6 months goal. So it's not only you will have the chance to actually make it happen, but also you will always beat your peers because they just believe they have the perspective that it can only be done in 10 years. And this is like Elon Musk. Obviously, if you want to understand more of this principle, it's called the Parkinson's Law. The Parkinson's Law is basically doing something that takes an absurd amount of time and you will make it in an absurd amount of short time. So let's say as an example, I'm going to give my content creation. I'm going to give my life story example. I was doing content and probably like my life is like almost a decade, 8 years, 7 years, stuff like that. On YouTube, I didn't upload 100 videos, right? You know, I did obviously on other platforms I did, but like on YouTube, I didn't. I realized that, well, what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to make more videos than I did in my entire career combined in this next year. It's like, this is different. You understand like, oh, now I comprehend. Because based on that trajectory, it has to take me another 8 years. But now I'm going to say that 8 years is going to become 1 year in terms of like how many videos I upload. Then you're like, okay, now I comprehend. I got it. So really like it depends on you. It's like, what is your 5-year dream, 5-year goal, not dream, 5-year goal, 10-year goal, stuff like that. Squeeze it, make it 6 months, see how that goes. I was sitting with my business mentor about 10 months ago actually. We were sitting on a table and he was actually next to me. And he said, really, you're doing goals all wrong. I said, what do you mean? He said, you have to make goals in just 2 weeks. And my mind was shattered. I said, what do you mean? I make yearly goals. He said, you have to make them in 2 weeks because simply if you're going to make 3, 4 months, 6 months, 1 year goals, like sure, do them, but your life can change. Circumstances, the condition can change. However, when you do that 2-week goal, really like life, you expect what's going to happen. So it's more likely that you will achieve than when you put 6 months or 9 months or a year. So even if you have 1 year goals, sure, do it. But try to whether break it down to milestones or to squeeze it all along, put it in 1 month. See how that goes. Or 2 weeks. He said, so this is my older brother and also my business mentor. He says, don't go more than 3 weeks. Like 2 weeks, the sweet spot is 2 weeks. Don't go through more than 3 weeks. And look, I've tried that since then. At first, it didn't work. I said, I'm just exhausted. Yes, it pushed me to do more, but I still didn't get the hang of it. right? But like I did it once, two, three, didn't work, stopped for a while in the summer, but also I went back again. But this time I was like, all right, now I comprehend it more, because I just believe blindly, when he tells me something, I'm like, all right, cool. I know that's true. I just have no clue about how it is true. But with the time, I just have to go all in. At the time, I'm going to understand it, And really, that's what it is. So even if you have a yearly goal or 10-year goal, whatever, try to whether break it down to milestones. Okay, so let's say that 120,000 called emails that you have to do, you're just going to break it down, whether you're going to make, let's say, 10,000 a month or something, right? Or you're going to do more. Let's say there's 2 weeks, I'm going to say in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do 30,000. Are you insane? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Who's going to stop me? Show me that it's physically impossible. It's not. Nobody's going to stop me. Then I'm going to do it. Stuff like that. It's going to push you, and because you can't expect what's going to happen in 2 weeks. Like usually your life will not change drastically in the span of 2 weeks. You can expect 3 months, 6 months. Yeah, you have no clue. You understand? So that literally just uppers and higher the perceived likelihood of achievement of that specified goal that you want to put. So it doesn't really matter on like what it is. It just matters on like the time that you push yourself. So here we talk about the Parkinson's law, as well as actually the best period that you have to make, as well as the debut of the year. Now, I think all of this is very important. We have also, on the other hand, one of the most important of them all is how many goals do you have, and when you do and take each one, and what are the steps on the year? Like we have 12 months a year. Like how would you break it if we're going to break it down? So this year I had the same situation happening to me last year. I really like it. I started the year. I started good. I started like on what I wanted to do, but I knew like if I want to really make it, I have no clue about what's gonna happen in the long term. So I have to like I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna go all in now. At this time, my business mentor and my older brother still didn't tell me the stuff that I told you about, like 2 weeks in the Parkinson's law. Really, the Parkinson's law, it's not my brother who told me, but then I discovered Parkinson's law with the 4-Hour Work Week, one of the greatest entrepreneurial books of all time. I said, you know what, I'm going to squeeze it. I'm going to try to get the most out of it. So February, I uploaded about 20 videos and sort of like that, right? So I knew like I was the head of the progress. So in the summer, I sort of slowed down in order for me to create even more quality videos. I put more time into the videos. But the thing is like those stages, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people can go through them, especially if you do it the right way. It's like the first month you want to test it is like it's actually doable. Nothing crazy. Second month, you go all in. I'm telling you, you go all in. Try to finish the entire thing. Finish it. Done. All right, move on. You understand? Then it depends. Like if you moved on, all right, do bigger things, do better things, stuff like that. If it's not, then you continue and you try to continue however you want. I prefer to finish it earlier. Like as an example, this year I finished it. So the last year I finished it with 30 September. 30 September I was done. It's like yearly resolutions done. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next thing, So you are literally 3 months ahead of everybody. And like with these rules, you can be 6 months ahead of everybody. Like people are always speaking about this. Like I've seen people literally posting, like some people I have were posting about the new year about 6 months before the new year. And they're already like in their mind, it's the new year. It's kind of like making the plans and stuff like that. It's not only that analysis paralysis, but some people are just ahead. There's also this quote from Andrew Tate. He speaks very beautifully. He says, like when it comes to New Year Eves, he says, well, it's double work, double training, double winning. It means you have to double your work. You do more work. It's not the time to actually just sit and kind of like feel good or stuff like that. Whether for the like the past year or the new year. Like the past year, like, all right, cool, done. You're done, dude. All right, move on. It's like, move on. You have stuff to do. You have your goals to achieve, and you have responsibility stuff. Like you want to become someone, so you have to move on a little bit. All right, so you want to move on. Next year, you're not gonna hear start like talking. Of course, you gotta put in the work. Put in the work. Move on. Just like get the wheel moving faster than anybody else, because people that are against you will never stop. So this is the type of conversation that you really want to have it with yourself. It's like, look, if it's hard, well, guess what? It's like everybody's finding it hard. It's like the people that I want to become like literally been through the same situation, and everybody that will want to really get to where I want to be like has to go through the same situation. This is not like poor me but poor them. It's like good luck for them, this type of situation. You want to always put yourself in a way that you're just all in, head down, get to work, back to work, back to back. Even Conor McGregor says this so beautifully. He says, look, when it was starting out, the thing that actually made me, and I think that it's not good, but still it was, without it I wouldn't be here. He says, I really was training like double time. I was training, and look, when everybody was sleeping, I was come back, I would train all alone. I was visualizing, I was doing all the things. And also he says that in another interview, which was so awesome and so beautifully said. He says, look, it's not only that I won, but I win back to back, and that's really what it is. I remember about 3 years ago, I had the same thing happening to me. Not the same thing, but like the same subject. I had this win that I got, but I couldn't do it back to back. And it's kind of like that haunted me, because I was like, oh, well, if you do it once, it's luck. If you do it twice, it's like you're a legend. So I just did it once, and am I lucky? And I was like, no, of course it can't be luck. I was working for all these years, like, half a decade then. But no, it's like, it's once you do it back to back, then you're a legend. And that's why like it's so important. And that's why like very important, especially at this time of the year. Look, head down, double work, double train, double winning. Push your resolutions, squeeze them, and look, give unrealistic milestones in unrealistic amount of time. 2 weeks, say I'm gonna make the entire resolution of a year. Probably like there's a good chance that you will achieve it. If not, like you will make progress. You'll make better progress than not doing it in the first place. And look, as I promised, now you have a great idea on like how to actually 10x how your early resolutions and the likelihood of you achieving your whatever goals, and not only achieving them in the year, but very early on, right? And look, what you've seen here can never unseen, so you might as well subscribe.